What's up everyone, I'm Callum on Toast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Evolution Cup, running a spicy team consisting of Purified Nidorina in the lead, Fraxure as the safe swap, and Ursaring as the closer. Now initially I wasn't going to be making another video in the Evolution Cup because I've gotten pretty bored of it, and judging by the poll I made the other day, 50% of you have also gotten very bored of this cup. But I did have a lot of success with this team, so I figured I might as well make a video for the 50% of you that wouldn't mind watching it. Now I've tried a ton of different spice teams, a lot of them failed miserably. I dropped a ton of elo, but I was able to regain quite a lot of it with this team. In 5 sets I did go 4-on-1 4 times, and I did have a single 2-3 negative set, but overall a very positive day. And you're going to see that Fraxure is actually very strong, and it is one of the best Pokemon in this meta, despite there being a lot of other dragons that are bulkier. I think the fact that this Fraxure is very attack weighted does give it an advantage in certain matchups, and certainly that Night Slash is really handy in this meta. We're going to be running Shadow Claw on the Ursaring for some very dominant matchups up against those ghost types, and then we do have close combat and play rough if we can farm down a ghost type and then come out with a ton of energy. There are so many Pokemon weak to the fighting or fairy typing in this meta, so Ursaring can be very deadly, but you just need to align it right, otherwise it is going to struggle massively because it does get absolutely annihilated by Vigoroth when shields are up. So with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What has been the most annoying Pokemon to deal with in this meta? Let me know in the comment section below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead Nidorina into Haunter. This is an awful lead. We're going to swap straight away into Fraxure. My opponent banks a move and they swap into a Piloswine here. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw might even get a shield, and it does get a shield. Unfortunately, we did time our charge move pretty poorly and we're not able to get to another move. We're going to come in with the Nidorina here, and we're going to no shield the first charge move here. It is an Avalanche. Avalanche does a lot of damage. We're going to go for a Poison Fang. I know this is resisted. I know my opponent is not going to shield it up, but I'm going to lower their defense so that I can come in with the Ursaring and fully Shadow Claw, farm down this Piloswine. My opponent does get to another charge move. We're going to shield up here. Avalanche goes through, and they're going to swap into the Haunter, meaning we're going to get even more farm, and I'm pretty much anticipating at this point they're going to have a Vigoroth in the back, because every team does. We're going to go for the close combat. We have the back-to-back loaded. First close combat gets shielded. The second close combat is going to come through. How much damage does this do? Not enough damage, and unfortunately the Vigoroth is going to be able to take me out here, and we do lose that game. So pretty badly rock paper scissors there, and unfortunately Ursaring there, regular Ursaring, not enough damage to take out a Vigoroth with the close combat. I did initially try a shadow version, but unfortunately I just found it was a lot worse in a lot of other matches, so I did switch to the regular version. But here we're up against a Magneton, a steel type, but our dragon type is going to be able to get the Night Slash boost, and we're going to shield up here and we should be able to farm down this Magneton. They actually swap into a Vigoroth. We're going for another Night Slash here. They let it go through. That does huge damage, and we've already taken the Vigoroth extremely low. We should be in range now where I can come in with the Nidorina and fully Poison Sting, farm them down. They try to commit to the Bulldoze. They don't get there, which is perfect. I'm going to switch into the Ursaring here. They have a Haunter in the back, and this is going to be a very easy game now. We can tank an Ice Punch unless they're running Sludge Bomb, which they're not. We're going to be able to easily Shadow Claw, farm them down. My opponent realizes that and they concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Vigoroth, so this is sort of where we want to see it. We're going to farm up a ton of energy here. They don't even commit to a Bulldoze, so I'm going to let this charge move go through. Body Slam does some pretty significant damage, but that's fine. We're going straight for the return here. Return does go unshielded, which is perfect. I'm going to let the Body Slam go through. I'm going to swap into Fraxure here. I'm nearly able to snipe them, but unfortunately my opponent does manage to get out of that matchup. I'm not sure if they have a charge move loaded. They swap into a Magneton here, but we're going to be able to easily one shield and farm them down with the Dragon Tails. Fraxure, sorry, is an extremely attack-weighted Pokemon, so we are able to fully farm them down. They come in with a Shadow Golbat. We're going for a Night Slash. We get a shield, we get an attack boost, and my opponent just concedes the match. They've had enough. They've realized that a Fraxure with the attack boost is going to be absolutely devastating for their team, and they do concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into another Vigoroth. My opponent swaps into a Golbat, so I'm going to go for the return here. Return does land, it does big damage. I swap into the Ursaring. Can we catch the Shadow Ball? Yes, we are able to, and that is perfect. I'm going to be able to fully Shadow Claw farm them down. I don't have to shield up Poison Fang, and I will come out with a close combat loaded. So if it is the Vigoroth that comes back in, which it is, I'm going to be able to get a shield from this Vigoroth, and we're looking to be in a very good position. I'm going to come back in with the Nidorina here. We do resist the counter damage, so it is a nice matchup for us. They go straight for a body slam. I'm going to overfarm here, going straight for the return once again. Will my opponent respect the damage? They do not, and at this point I'm looking to be in a pretty good position. I switched to catch the charge move. Wasn't really intending to catch, more intending to snipe them there with the Fraxure, but my opponent has a pretty poor Pokemon to deal with Fraxure in the back in the form of the Alolan Graveler. We can get to a Night Slash, and we should be able to get to one more Night Slash before my opponent is able to get to a Stone Edge. Rock Blast wouldn't be able to take me out, so they have to commit to the Stone Edge, but I get to the Night Slash. Night Slash eventually takes out the Graveler. I think my opponent has exited out the battle, so I'm spamming on as many points on the screen as possible, and I'm able to Dragon Tail, farm down the Vigoroth, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into another Vigoroth. So once again, a pretty good lead for us. This is where we want to see it. Pretty much as long as we can avoid it on the Ursaring, then we should be in a very good position. We go straight for the return. They do shield it up, and that is not great for me. I'm going to let this move go through. They do bait me with a body slam. I'm going to go for a Poison Fang here, not expecting them to shield again. But they do shield again, and that's a very questionable shield there. Not sure if they know the counts for return with Poison Sting, but they go for the Bulldoze there, so they just want to get rid of that Nidorina. Perhaps they are weak to it in the back, but that is fine. I'm going to come in with Fraxure, hoping I can fully Dragon Tail, farm them down. I would have been able to, but my opponent switches out into Dragonair. We go for the Dragon Claw, we take out the Dragonair. They come in with an Alolan Graveler, so a very similar team here. We're going to go for the Night Slash, and at this point, we're not going to be able to get to another charge move, so I do swap out there. I am one Dragon Tail away, so if this Graveler is able to take me out, which they're not able to, then I would have been able to take them out with a Dragon Tail and then get to a Dragon Claw, but we're able to farm them down, go for a close combat up against the Vigoroth, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Charger Bug, so pretty neutral lead, I guess. We're going to let this charge move go through. We're both fairly bulky Pokemon. They go for a crunch. They do get the defense drop, so that is nice for them. Not so nice for me. I'm going straight for the return. We do land it, which is nice. I am going to shield up and then swap into the Fraxure and just make sure I get rid of this Charger Bug before they get to another charge move. They're going to come in with Vigoroth, which is nice. We're avoiding it on the Ursaring, so that is perfect. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw. We get a shield from the Vigoroth. I'm going to let this charge move go through. Actually, no, because they throw straight away, I know I'm going to be able to get to one more Dragon Claw, and this should be taking out the Vigoroth or get the final shield from my opponent. We do get the final shield. They swap into a Dusclops here, but they're not able to get to a charge move before they can farm us down, or they're not able to farm us down before we are able to get to a move, sorry. We come in with the Ursaring, very easy matchup for us here. They go for an Ice Punch, that doesn't do enough damage to take us out in 2 moves, so we will tank this second Ice Punch too. We're able to Shadow Claw, farm them down, not quite at the charge move yet, so I'm going to swap into Nidorina, catch the charge move, a bit risky because they could undercharge there and farm me down, but I was very close to the return, so they do sort of have to fully charge it there. We do get to the close combat up against the Vigoroth, and this will easily take them out from about 2 HP, and we do take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Zweilous here, so we're going to farm up to the return. and we do go straight for it, expecting my opponent to no shield in this matchup, but they do shield, and that is a big risk that hasn't paid off. We're actually going to no shield this charge move here, hoping we get to another Poison Fang, but unfortunately my opponent does CMP tie us here, and we do let it go through. We're going to come in with Fraxure here, try and go for the farm down, but they get to the next charge move one turn before the other one, so we don't even get that extra Dragon Tail through. They have a Vigoroth in the back, and we just completely messed up that game, and we do lose. That opponent actually did go and add me on Twitter after that battle, probably knows of my name. Unfortunately, I did disappoint them with a very poorly played game there, so we're going to play this matchup differently now. We're actually going to build up to the return and then just go for the Poison Fangs. It is a lot safer, and I actually realised that I had a pretty good tactic that I did implement in the remainder of these battles, where I go spamming for those Poison Fangs, and then I will eventually go for the Dragon Tail farm down, and quite often I'm able to snipe my opponents with the insane dragon damage there. We're able to take out that Dragonair. They come in with a Dusclops. This is a pretty good matchup for me when I have a significant energy advantage. They go for an Ice Punch, we shield it up, we get to the first Night Slash here. Night Slash gets the shield. We're going to swap here, catch the charge move on the Ursaring. Maybe a misplay, they might have a Vigoroth in the back, but my opponent is staying in, and they eventually swap into the Vigoroth. We're going to farm up as much energy as possible before throwing the charge move here. Close combat once again barely doesn't take them out, but I do get a Dragon Tail through. We're going to be able to shield this charge move up, and I do have a Night Slash loaded to go into this Dusclops, and Night Slash is able to take out that Dusclops and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into another Vigoroth, very common lead. You're not going to see too much variation on the teams from my opponents, so I do apologise for that, but you will see some pretty crazy gameplay here. We're going to play it safe now. We've realised that going for the return is pretty risky, so we're going to go for these Poison Fangs straight away. We're going to go for the Poison Fang again. We do have that back-to-back stored. My opponent does shield the first one. It could have been a return, so it does make sense to shield there. We go for a second one. We're going to swap into Fraxure. We're able to snipe, farm them down before they get to another charge move, or before they're able to react and swap out. They're going to come in with Dusclops, but once again with an energy lead. This is a pretty nice matchup for the Fraxure. So we're going to go up to a lot of energy here, go for the first Night Slash, and we're going to go for the second one straight away. This is a CMP tie. We get the attack boost with the Night Slash. This will be taking out the Dusclops. We get another attack boost, and my opponent is going to concede the match, and we do take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Fraxure just absolutely devastating that opponent with those Night Slash boosts. We lead into a Shadow Dragonair in the next match here. Once again, we're going to build up to the return and then just play it safe, go for the Poison Fang bait. The nice thing about Poison Fang is it does lower my opponent's defense, so it is going to get some shields, and we actually get both shields from the opponent straight away. We swap into Fraxure, we get the second Dragon Tail through. That's going to do huge damage there. My opponent swaps into a Haunter. They are absolutely core broken by this Fraxure. We take out the Haunter, we get the attack boost again. They come in with a Chansey, and at this point we're looking to be in a very good position. I know a lot of people said Chansey the most annoying Pokemon in this meta, but we really didn't have a tough time beating it here. You see, these Dragon Claws really don't do an awful lot of damage, but Chansey itself really isn't going to do any damage to my Pokemon. We're going to come in with the Ursaring here. We're doing double resisted fast move damage here, so we do need to land these close combats. We're going to shield up a Hyper Beam. My opponent swaps, trying to snipe me there with the charge move from the Dragonair, but I'm able to swap, catch the move. They do farm me down, but I should be able to farm down this Dragonair, and we're easily got enough energy to take out this Chansey. How much does the close combat do? Actually not enough to take him out, but I am just going to commit to Shadow Claw, farming them down, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead Nidorina into another Dragonair, so we're just going to play this exactly the same as we have done. We're going to build up to the return. We're actually going to let the charge move go through. Body Slam does a nice amount of damage. We're going for the Poison Fang here. Can we get another shield from a Dragonair? We do not get the shield there. My opponent swaps, trying to catch the charge move. Nice play there, but we do have a very nice answer in the form of Ursaring. They go for a Fire Punch, so perhaps they're not even running Ice Punch, or perhaps they're not running the Shadow Punch. Who knows? We go for a Play Rough, it gets shielded, and at this point I'm happy to let the Ursaring go down. We're going to save both shields for the Fraxure, and we should be in a very good position because Fraxure really doesn't have a lot of hard counters. I'm going to shield up this charge move. I will be able to Dragon Tail farm them down before they get to the next charge move, and we do have a loaded energy. They come back in with the Dragonair. They throw at an awkward time, giving me a full Dragon Tail through, and now I'm able to farm them down. They come in with the Vigoroth here. We get the shield with the Dragon Claw. We have another one loaded, but we swap into the Nidorina here, going straight for the return. Return does huge damage. My opponent needs to farm me down, but they're not able to. I'm going for the Poison Fang, and Poison Fang is enough to take out the Vigoroth from this range, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into yet another Vigoroth. So as long as we can see the Vigoroths in the lead, then we're going to be in a pretty good position here. My opponent goes for the Body Slam straight away. I'm going to build up to the return. This time I actually do go for it. My opponent makes a swap onto a Golbat, but luckily I did go for the return there. I'm going to force them to try and throw their energy. Either they go for the Shadow Ball or they go for a Poison Fang. We resist Poison Fang. I swap into Fraxure here. Maybe I should have swapped into the Ursaring. I'm not really sure. They're going to come back in with the Vigoroth, so perhaps it was good for me to swap into the Fraxure. We're going to shield up this charge move, go for a Night Slash here after one more Dragon Tail. Night Slash gets a shield from this Vigoroth. My opponent throws at an awkward time. I do get the Dragon Tail through, and I will be able to fully Dragon Tail farm them down, but my opponent swaps into a Dragonair, it seems. We get the final shield from my opponent. It is not over yet. It's going to be down to Ursaring and whether it can tank a charge move here from this Dragonair. And it does barely tank a Body Slam. We actually bank that close combat, switch into Nidorina, go for the return. Return takes out the Dragonair, and at this point we have the close combat loaded. We can go for it up against this Vigoroth, and we will be able to take out the Vigoroth and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there, and into the final battle we lead into a Dusclops lead. Very bad lead for us. I switch into the Fraxure here. They swap into a Piloswine, so they have a pretty good response for us, but we're so attack weighted that a Dragon Claw does warrant a shield here. We're actually going to shield up, try and get both shields from my opponent, because we know that Ursaring, when shields are down, is going to be pretty deadly, and we do get both shields from the opponent. Now we're going to come in with the Ursaring here, try and Shadow Claw, farm down this opponent fully. It is an Avalanche, of course. Can we get the farm down? No, we're barely not able to, and at this point that is going to be game over. Avalanche takes out the Ursaring. There's nothing Nidorina can do up against the Dusclops, and we do lose that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already, for a chance at a shout out in my next video. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications, so that way you're notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shout outs from my previous video. So firstly, we've got Jeff N, who says maybe Pachirisu so it can hit those ground and grass types for neutral damage. And this is a really cool one, I think, because Pachirisu only has electric type moves, so it really can't do anything when it gets stuck up against a ground or grass type. But with that return damage, it would give it a little bit of fight in that matchup. Next we got Ethan Groth, who says Return Beware would be very good right now because currently it only learns Stomp as a normal charge move, but Return would give it that nuke potential, and it is of course Stab. Next we got JCL, who says Return on Tropius. It already has a really good stab charge move in the form of Leaf Blade, but having Return as a nuke coverage move would be very nice as well. Next we've got Alex Plays, who says Lopunny with Return would be beneficial because Return is a lot quicker to get to than Hyper Beam, and because it is Stab, it would hit very hard in a lot of resisted matchups. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.